Did you know the English language has over 170,000 words currently in use? But, most native speakers only know around 20,000. True story. Well, that means that there are more than 150,000 little linguistic landmines just waiting to trip you up. It's kind of like this bow tie. One wrong twist, and suddenly I look like I got dressed in the dark. I once coached a guy who avoided saying the word entrepreneur for years. I mean, literally, for years. Because in his words, he said, "Dennis, my tongue refuses to cooperate." And honestly, I get it. Some English words feel like they require a warm-up routine and a small prayer. So, here's a quick tip. When a word feels impossible, just break it down. Break it down into small, slow, clear beats, Say each part separately and then blend them back together. That's the fastest way to train your tongue without feeling overwhelmed. And here's the good news. Tricky words don't have to stay tricky once you learn the rhythm behind them. So today, now that we've got this knot tight, we're going to tighten up your pronunciation with some of the toughest words to pronounce. So stick around because, hey, in tonight's Mastery Minute at the end, I'm going to give you one tiny trick that will make any hard word easier to say. And hey, drop your questions or your hard words or tricky words in the chat. If you struggle with it, I want to hear about it. And I'll help you out after the episode. And don't forget, like this channel, subscribe, and share this so that you can help more people master their English with confidence. You ready to go? All right, me too. Let's go. Let me tell you about Min-ho. Min-ho from Korea. Min-ho was a brilliant software engineer. He still is. He's great at his job. He's an excellent communicator. But one day, during a product demonstration or demo, he said the word algorithmic. Oh, but that's not really what came out. What came out was algorithmic, or kind of a cross between that and aardvark rhythmic, aardvark mimic. I can't even say it right. Everybody in the room paused when they heard him say that. He panicked, and instead of moving on, he tried again, and again, and again. The poor guy got stuck in a pronunciation loop. And after the meeting, he told me, he said, "Dennis, I can code with my eyes closed, but these English words, they're bullies. They bully me, right? They're picking on me." And look, here's the truth. Pronunciation doesn't mean you're bad at English. Making mistakes with your pronunciation doesn't mean you're bad at English. It just means you're human. So tonight, let's fix the most commonly mispronounced words, the ones that pop up in work and business and everyday conversations. And trust me, these words leave even native speakers sweating. Sometimes, what can I say? All right, so let's break it down. Some of the biggest troublemakers. These are words that people avoid. They mumble, they whisper, or they pray that no one asks them to say out loud. And here's why this matters. Mispronouncing a tricky word, look, it won't ruin your career. It won't make people judge your intelligence, but getting it right does give you a boost of confidence, and it helps your message land more clearly. And that's the goal here. So, I don't want you to make too much out of this. Everybody, including native speakers, everybody stumbles over certain words. So this isn't about being perfect, it's about progress. And after tonight, you're going to say these words with confidence. Let's jump into it. We got a lot of words to get through, so let's start with number 1, entrepreneur. Okay? Note, the primary stress is not on the first syllable, even though it sounds like it. The first syllable is on. That's actually a secondary stress. It does receive some stress. It feels like it's the stronger one, but it's not. Entrepreneur. See how that last one gets the heavy one? Most learners and many native speakers, they actually fear this word. Why? Because it's not an English word. It's a French word. It's fancy. It's got too many vowels doing questionable things. So, break it down into the beats. Entrepreneur. Say it slowly at first, then speed it up. For example, she's an entrepreneur launching her first startup. Okay? It looks funny, but it works. I once had a student who said entrepreneur, which is honestly adorable, even though it's not accurate. All right, we've done that one. We've untangled it. Let's roll into another everyday word that looks simple but still manages to trip people up. And that is February. What? February. Now, this is the common pronunciation. Feb, you, airy. Now, why? But there's an R in there. But nobody, and I mean nobody, pronounces every single letter of this word. Even native speakers usually skip that first R in this word. Okay? So don't feel pressure to overpronounce it like a robot. The only people who speak the second R are hoity-toity British lords with their noses in the air. February. Trust me, we all just say February. Okay? For example, the meeting is scheduled for February 12th. There. Say it in 3 pieces. Feb-u-airy. And once you got that flowing, let's move on to where English shows its lazy side. Comfortable. Wait a minute. Comfortable? Yeah, it's comfortable, not comfortable. It's one of the best examples of English being lazy. All right? We write 4 syllables on paper. Comfortable. But when you see it, we say only the 3 syllables. Okay? Simple. It's comfortable. Comfortable. So, for example, I'm not comfortable presenting without preparation. You know, I had a student who once said, comfortable, like it was some kind of Italian pasta dish. Sounds delicious, but still incorrect. So, let's move on to something that a little more chaotic. But it's not chaotic, it's choir. Choir? C-H-O-I-R? Yes, that's right. It's pronounced choir. It rhymes with fire. It's a sneaky word. And nothing about the spelling here makes sense. C-H normally makes ch sound, but in this case it's a K sound. O-I would normally sound like oi or something like that, but now it's a W sound. English Spelling Committee was here clearly having a strange day here. Well, it actually comes from an old French word that was choir, meaning to sing. The English borrowed it, but instead of keeping the original QU sound, qu, they wrote, the English scribes wrote CH because of the older Latin spellings. Meanwhile, the OI kept that French sound, oui, and later That's why the English sounds so different. So it's a borrowed word, inconsistent spelling rules, and that's why this beautiful mess that we know is a choir. For example, she sings beautifully in the company choir. And now that we've survived that spelling circus, let's look at a stranger word. Colonel. Yes, that's right. Colonel. That doesn't look like colonel. We spell it Colonel, but somehow we say kernel, like popcorn kernel. Why? Again, we're getting back to history, borrowed spellings, and English being English. So where does this odd pronunciation come from? It actually comes from two different languages. Isn't that crazy? English borrowed one spelling from French, Colonel, and one pronunciation from Italian, which was coronello. And instead of choosing one, English just said, yes, no problem. So, for example, you might see this one in a sentence that said, the Colonel approved the final report. So, now that we've marched through that, let's go on to this next word. It's a little mischievous word. It loves to cause trouble. Mischievous. Mischievous. 3 syllables. That's it. 3 syllables. But look at all the letters in this word. A lot of people, even native speakers, even myself sometimes, we say it with 4 syllables. Mischievous. But that extra syllable doesn't belong there. Why is that? Well, the reason why this word is so confusing is because the Old English was pronounced mischievous. Mischievous. Well, when the new English came around, the new spelling became mischievous, but not the extra syllable. Okay? It wasn't mischievous. So the pronunciation stayed short while the spelling got fancy. When our eyes see the spelling, we think that we need to add those extra syllables. Guess what? You don't. That's why it's written. The written form tempts people to add a syllable that was never meant to be spoken. Just remember, it's 3 beats. Mischievous, like her mischievous smile told me that she wasn't finished causing trouble. That little troublemaker. That little scamp. Okay, let's get over to another one. This one gets people tied in knots, even though it's a short one. Rural. Rural. Worst word ever. I'm not going to lie. If your tongue, even though it's short, if your tongue gets lost halfway through, you're not alone, because even native speakers stumble with this one. So just slow it down. Go rural, then smooth it out. Rural, rural, rural. Okay? What does it mean? It means living out in nature. It's in the country. So like, he grew up in a rural area outside the city. All right, we've survived that tongue twister. Let's finish with a short, simple word whose spelling still surprises people. Chaos. What? That doesn't look like chaos. It looks like chaos. Yeah, because English spelling strikes again here. Most learners, most people see the CH and they think ch, like chair. But here, nope, it's that hard k sound again. So think of it as 2 different sounds. Chaos. Chaos. Like the office was in total chaos after the system went down. We're going a little over time, but I'm going to give you a little bonus word. I was only going to do 8, but I said, you know what? Let's do a bonus word just for fun. What word is this? Worcestershire? What is that word? No. It's pronounced Worcestershire. Worcestershire. Say that. Wow. All right, this is just for grins. Worcestershire or Worcestershire. Worcestershire or Worcestershire. All right. It didn't make the official list because it's just a condiment, but it deserves an award for the most intentionally confusing word. All right. You look at this word and people say there is no way that that word says what it looks like it says. Okay? People say it says this, but there's no way. And you're not alone if you think that. The spelling looks like somebody smashed 3 unrelated words together and hoped for the best. And so why does it have that wild pronunciation? Simple. Because, again, English borrowed the name from a region in England. Worcester. Locals were famous in that area, still are, to swallow half the syllables. Because, I guess, efficiency or something. So add shire to the end of it, and boom, now it's a tongue twister disguised as a compliment, or a condiment, excuse me. So, for example, you might say, just add a dash of Worcestershire sauce to give the dish more depth. If you've ever tried Worcestershire, drop your story in the comment. I love Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. That's what we used to say when I was a kid. All right, we've had our fun. We handled that little bit of chaos. Let's settle things down with a practical reminder and bring all these tricky words together. Because here's the real secret. Tricky words don't become an easy thing that you can just memorize and read the IPA symbols that you see in the dictionary. Okay? So, if you want to double check anything or check pronunciation, well, let's just go through. Break it into beats. Go slow. If you find a word you're having trouble, go slow, break it into beats, smooth it all out, and then you'll start to feel more natural. And if you're ever not sure, go online. My favorite dictionary is Merriam-Webster, but you've got the Cambridge and the Oxford dictionaries online. And if you're on the internet, they have a little speaker icon. You can click it and hear the correct pronunciation from a native speaker. Well, probably an AI, and that's going to help you to become more smooth and natural. Look, if you're unsure about a word, don't guess. Ask somebody. Check it out in the dictionary and practice. A tiny correction now saves you a lot of stress later. And look, I want to remind you, if you mispronounce a word, it's not a big deal. I don't judge you for it. In fact, it usually means that you learned that word by reading, which is a sign of intelligence, a sign of curiosity. Using a word, even imperfectly, is always better than avoiding it. All right? So, let's jump into your challenge for today. Choose 1 or 2 tricky words from tonight's episode. Practice it 10 times. Slowly and clearly, confidently record yourself. Then listen back and repeat. Do it again. All right? And if you want to go deeper, check out the full blog linked below. And for my complete system to improve your English in just 10 minutes a day, join the course Mastering English for Busy Professionals. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Link is also down in the description. And if tonight helped you even a little bit, don't forget, like, subscribe, share this episode. It helps more people discover the channel and improve their English. And join this awesome community, okay? And now's the perfect time to drop your questions in the chat because we're heading into the Mastery Minute. I know, we're now, and we've gone beyond 15-minute mastery. We're in 20-minute mastery now, but that's okay. All right? And here's a fun phrase for you guys. A fun phrase for you if you've ever struggled with your vocabulary. Trip over your words. What does that mean, trip over your words? Well, it means messing up your speech, stumbling, repeating yourself, mispronouncing something, or just getting tongue-tied. It happens to all of us. The idea comes from actually literally tripping over something with your feet, except this time it's your tongue doing the tripping. Okay? So For example, you might say, during the presentation, I totally tripped over my words when I tried to say Worcestershire or Worcestershire. Okay? Why does this even matter? Well, look, this is a fun little phrase, a little idiom. It gives you a natural and friendly way to explain a mistake. Instead of apologizing or feeling embarrassed or panicking, you can just smile and say, "Oops, I tripped over my words there. Let me try to explain that again." And that's a great way to handle it. It's confident, it's natural, and it keeps your conversations moving smoothly. So practice the phrase and use it next time your mouth rebels against you, that stubborn mouth of yours. All right, that's it. That's a wrap for episode 93. Can you believe it? Tonight we tackled some of the trickiest words in the English language and gave you tools to pronounce them confidently. Friday night, we're going to talk about some of the most common English mistakes that even advanced learners make. That's going to be simple tips, simple slip-ups that can confuse your message or maybe make you sound less confident than you really are. These are easy to fix once you know what to look for. And I'll show you exactly how to avoid all of them so that your English sounds clean, professional, and natural. And until then, just remember, keep your bow tie straight and stay curious. I'm Dennis Wilborn, and I'll see you next time on 15-Minute Mastery. Hopefully we can keep it below 15 minutes because, gosh, we're at 22 now. Bye!